Hello, this is a short video designed to give you some ideas about how to pick a topic from our book that is going to work well for you. So for our class, you get to choose from the two different sections in our book, debating the issues and then also the multiple viewpoint section. So between those two sections, there is a lot of different topics. So the first section under debating issues is about rating professors. Does it matter? Does it not matter? Why do we even do it? Public restrooms, so the idea of gender neutral public bathrooms and the controversy that comes with that. Trigger warnings in schools and kind of how far is too far. Gender stereotypes, particularly looking at the princess phenomenon and how that could be detrimental to girls' self-image. Looking at economics and sports, so should college athletes be paid? And then we get to the multiple viewpoint section. So then there's these really broad topics with sort of different directions underneath. So the first one is social networking, particularly looking at consequences of becoming an online society. So there is everything from like, a mother's point of view to some of the different studies that are out there. So again, lots of different kind of directions for this, but the whole big topic or the broad topic is that idea of sort of what does it mean to be an online society. Of course, different topics surrounding violence on campus, so how far will we go to keep schools safe? One on climate change, it exists, so what now? So looking at kind of what are the big issues surrounding climate and what can actually be done about it. Like now that we recognize it's real, what do we do? Another one about sports. So again, for those of you that are interested in athletics, if I can talk, what risks should athletes be allowed to take? So it's looking at sort of the danger, not danger, how much is too much. And again, lots of different directions, everything from, head trauma to doping. So there's lots of different subtopics, even under these broader ones. And there's a section on freedom of speech. So limitation on our rights and if they're justified. And again, lots of different directions that one goes if you want to scan the specific pieces underneath of it. And then one on police violence and where do we go from here? And again, lots of different directions for that. So I think that what I would advise you to do, this is sort of how I would approach it. Sorry, not to make that scan so fast. First of all, I would just go through this list in your book and just cross off the sections that you know you're not interested in, where you're like, I don't really, either I don't, have any interest in that topic. I don't want to learn any more about it. Truly, like I do not want to read about it. Or maybe it's one that you've just done too much before. So some of these topics in here, like for instance, the online society one, they've been pretty overdone in recent years. It may have been something you've had to work with a little bit too much, so you might decide to stay away from it for that reason. Or there might be topics in here that you're just simply too passionate about, where you're not going to be able to step back and really see multiple sides of the issue. And so the kind of flip of this is once you take out ones where you're just adamant, like, no, I cannot work with this, then look at what's left and start to figure out, okay, what would I be interested in researching? What do I want to work with for the next 12 weeks, right? Or 11 weeks, really. 11 weeks. What topics do I think that I would have something to say about or be able to form an opinion about to write on, okay? What topics are just relevant to you for some reason? So some of these topics may be directly relevant. For instance, maybe some of you are in sports or want to go into a career with sports. Well, then it would make a lot of sense to go that direction with your topic. Maybe some of you have experienced or seen some of the dangerous things that happen in schools or what schools are trying to do to prevent things like school shootings. Then that might be an interesting topic. So again, there's lots of different ways to kind of see what topic you might want to work with, but make sure that it's one that you are comfortable working with for the quarter, one that you genuinely would like to learn some more about because you're going to be looking into it in pretty far depth. So make sure it's a topic that you are comfortable doing that with. One that, again, you're not overly passionate about, but still have some interest in, right? Like you don't want it to be so far that you just don't care. You want it to be something that you want to learn about, that you're curious to see where it goes, what you find, one that you feel like you could step back and really be able to see the argument from multiple angles, rather than just having like a really narrow focus. Now, how these topics work is once you pick your topic, we're going to use that topic in different ways. So our first project that we'll be doing is going to be learning how to evaluate a specific person's argument that they made, and really it's looking at how the argument's written. So it's not about arguing, it's not about trying to prove someone wrong, it's literally looking at how does someone else write about this topic and how successful were they in the way that they formulated the argument, that they put it together. How does the structure work? How does the organization work? How does their support work, etc. Then we're going to move into doing your own research. At that point, you will also be narrowing down whatever direction you want to go. So just to give you an example, one of the topics in here, gender stereotypes, is the princess phenomenon detrimental? Well, maybe you work with one of those articles for the first project. You think that topic's interesting, so like, I'd like to look more into this. You come around to the second project and you're like, oh, like, yeah, that's really interesting, but I'd really like to look into the flip side of this. Maybe I want to do something with, superheroes and if they're detrimental or helpful to boys' self-image. Well, that would be a related topic. It still falls under that topic of gender stereotypes. It's just a slightly different direction. So when we're picking these topics, it's a really broad topic for you to start with. You'll be able to pick a more specific direction or narrow that down for your larger argument essay that you'll be writing later in the quarter. So I just want to make that clear up front so that you don't feel like you're writing about that exact question or that exact same argument. It's going to be under that broad sort of umbrella topic, but then you'll be able to figure out a direction that you really want to go later on in the quarter. So having said that, let me know if you have any questions. My only last little note is, yes, your topic does have to come from one of these sections. It can't be any topic out there that you want to pick. I do require that it's one from our book. And it does need to be one from the two sections that I pointed out. So this debating the issues and then the multiple viewpoints section. I really encourage you to scan the articles in those sections before picking a topic. Sometimes something might sound interesting, but then you read a little closer and realize it's not something you want to work with. So that would be kind of my last little bit of advice. Other than that, I'm really curious and interested to see what you all want to work with this quarter, and let me know if you have any questions.